We are not alone. The Pentagon released the UFO files a few weeks back, and we just found out over 1 billion people have visited the site. 1 billion.
Aliens on Earth? Who said that before? Pesky conspiracy theorists. So, if you haven't been paying attention now, what's happening is Jesse Waters is reporting that there's aliens on Earth, and said we've just seen the intro there, and he's went as far to name them all, give them all personality disorders, traits. You know, he's given them all a type. There's the Nordic, there's the reptilians, there's the greys, and I think the other one's like praying mantis or something, or a mantis or an insect thing. And I'm actually really excited about this video today because, believe it or not, aliens isn't really something I'd be interested in. It's not something to believe in. It's not even really something that, even as a subject, ever holds me attention. But the fact that they've come out and they've announced this, and I thought I'd have a wee look into it, and end up, you know, as you do, I went down a wee rabbit hole, and I'm pretty excited about where this is going. So Jesse Waters has just basically done this report there a night or two ago, but Joe Rogan was talking about it 3 months ago, so I'm going to play the clip now.
Upper level is okay, so if they're spiritual beings, which I believe they are, like it's a binary. They're either, you know, you're on team good or team bad. You can assign any name to it you want, but like, what are these things? Are they good or bad? And I think some of them are bad. And if the U.S. government knows that, or elements, the people within the U.S. government know that, then, you know, then they're serving a bad force. And
well, when you say spiritual, like what makes you draw that conclusion that they're spiritual?
What's the obvious? I mean, spiritual may be the wrong word. Supernatural. You know, they're beyond nature as we understand it.
And has anybody ever actually looked into the, you know, the 4 random personality traits that these aliens seem to have? For example, you've got the insects, what do they do? You've got the big Nordics, what do they do? The greys, the translucents, what do they do? The reptilians. Well, so you take the Nordics, right? What do you think? You probably think of Vikings or something like that there. It's a war. You know, that's geopolitical war in the landscape. See, you look at the insectoids, or whatever they call them. What do? They destroy crops, they destroy plants, they eat your stuff.
I mean, obviously they are. I mean, just chart their physical behavior. It doesn't, you know, it goes outside of what we understand about physics. No visible means of propulsion, you know, coming at indescribable speed, hitting the ocean, continuing at speeds that are impossible undersea. I mean, in other words, if I take a, you know, 9mm round or 7.62 by 39 and shoot you at 50 yards underwater in a swimming pool, and it's even more intense in salt water because it's denser, you could catch the bullet if it even makes it to you, right? So if you have a craft, any object underwater that's traveling at 500 knots as measured by sonar, right there you're challenging our understanding of physics. Like, what is that? How can that be?
Then you have the greys, you know, they're telekinesis, you know, they can speak, they're non-verbal, they can speak to you, you know, through brain waves, you know, they can spread awareness for space autism. And then the reptilians, they're cold-blooded, calculated, they've been like the most sort of well-rumored, you know, aliens, I think, you know, to inhabit Earth. But the thing is when you actually look at these personality traits and stuff like that there, it reminds me of actually seeing a thing that Joe Rogan done there a few months ago, where, like, I think it was actually maybe a year ago, so now this Joe Rogan's talking about the Book of Enoch and all that there, and it's like how excited that they all were to like point out that these aliens and stuff like that, they were mentioned in the original Bible, and it spoke about the Book of Enoch, and you know how it's like it changes everything and stuff like that there. So there's a wee clip of Joe Rogan, you know, speaking about that.
And she was talking to me about the Book of Enoch. She goes, "You ever read that?" And
but
I was
that's
like,
not
no.
included in the canonized.
Here's why: because of rabbis. A bunch of rabbis said it didn't align with the Torah, and so they yanked it out. But it's an original.
And then So you get Joe Rogan talking about it there, news journalist or whatever you like to call them, speaking about aliens in the world stage, and that's just getting you prepared for aliens coming and stuff like that. You get Jesse Waters talking about it on Fox News.
It's got to be a record. The War Department says more files will be released soon. UFO experts and top researchers have been investigating aliens for years. Their sources say dozens of crashed UFOs have been recovered, and what they found inside, shocking.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that there's 4 different kinds of beings. Well, how did they describe the 4 different beings, George?
Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to look that up. I'll bet you Jamie could find that.
I've only heard of the grays and the tall whites.
There's the
Jamie got
reptilians,
something
Nordics.
here? Major Kilpatrick, the second-ranking officer in public affairs at the Air Academy, in a position to speak authoritatively for the Air Force. He admitted at once that plebs are taught from a text entitled Introductory Space Science Volume 2, and an entire chapter 33 deals entirely with UFO considerations. He quoted from page 455 that 50,000 virtually reliable people have reported sighting unidentified flying objects. This leads us with the unpleasant possibility of alien visitors to our planet. The 14-page chapter continues, or at least alien-controlled UFOs. According to the Academy textbook, if such beings are visiting Earth, 2 questions arise. 1, why haven't they attempted to contact us officially? And 2, why haven't there been accidents which would have revealed their presence? Why no contact? That question is very easy to answer in any of several ways. 1, we may be the object of intensive sociological and psychological study. In such studies, you usually avoid disturbing the test subject's environment. 2, you do not contact a colony of ants, and humans may seem that way to any aliens. Variation. A zoo is a fun place to visit, but you don't contact the lizards. 3, such contact may have already taken place secretly.
The thing is, when I started this video, it's I never ever believed in aliens. And then on top of that, it's like you've got all the conspiracy theories, the CIA documents and stuff talking about Project Bluebeam, stuff like that. There, it's like I could never ever get into it or behind it or anything. That's when I started this video. But as I said, I went down a wee bit of a rabbit hole with a. It's just it's when you do like sort of like, you're into conspiracies and stuff. It's that you do look into all sorts of different things, and there's no doubt in my mind at the minute they're obviously gearing everybody for some sort of alien interaction, alien contact, alien takeover, alien invasion. I don't know. Alien Love Island at this point wouldn't fucking surprise me. You know what I mean? It's like they're preparing humans for something. You know, so. When you think about the fact that they're preparing the humans for something along the alien lines, and then they're introducing this new book of Enoch all of a sudden, and you've got the biggest podcasters like Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson and everybody after that going mad about how the CIA are releasing documents and everything about aliens and all that there. So, like, just for example, it's like people don't actually realise as well, it's like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is part of a wider 7 Seals story. It's not just the 4 horsemen of apocalypse. The fifth one's like martyrs, and the crimes of martyrs and stuff like that there. Now it's like, I'll insert a wee clip here. Donald Trump just declared Charlie Kirk a martyr.
He was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom.
There you go. So we're in the age of martyrs. The 6th one talks directly about blocking the sun. You're in the age of where Bill Gates and China and all are all talking about blocking the sun and, you know, stuff like that there. And then the 7th one, I think, is silence in heaven for 30 minutes. You know, so there's a lot of I think people as well, it's that they don't really understand the Bible and they don't read the words of the Bible, and so they don't understand words have meanings. I mean, just to run down the 7 seals, right? Now, so you think of these and think of how the world's shaping up today. So the first one would be conquest and false peace. Conquest's been going on for thousands of years, and false peaces have been broken for thousands of years. Second one's war. We're in the midst of yet another big war, almost a world war. Everybody's fighting with somebody at some point. Then famine. Famine will come from a result of the war, because trade and stuff like that there all slowed down out there. And then what happens when you can't feed people? Death. So that's the first 4 horsemen out the way, and that's just a analogy of life. Then the 5th one is martyrism. You've got like Charlie Kirk just being declared a martyr by Donald Trump. You've got Martin Luther King, he was sort of a martyr. Then on top of that, you've got like JFK, and they're not actually martyrs for the civilization or the population or the politics. They're martyrs for the biblical prophecy they're trying to put in place to make you believe that, all this is coming true. Because it's like, you think about it, it's like back when it was all written, it's like the 4 horsemen, it's like men and horses were the most technological thing, where superpowers that they could possibly imagine, whereas now so you can imagine like spaceships not there, just because the technology have the availability to actually hold in your hand now would open your mind up to like further possibilities, whereas you didn't have that back then. And also, the reason I believe that this is mythology and it stems back to life, meaning of life and stuff like that, there's not only because of the 7 reasons that I just listed you that are perfectly human things to do, and it's a list for all the 7 things that would come to bring on what people would believe would be the Antichrist, and redemption and absolutely madness and everything decaying around them. But it's been happening for thousands of years now. It's like, here's a quick thing. It's the Mayans. This is how the Mayans went out. And then the Egyptians. So this is how the Egyptians went out. And then eventually the Romans. This is how they went out. I don't need to be autistic to like have a wee bit of pattern recognition, but that's where I come into my belief also, where what you're seeing today on the world stage is being played by actors and being played out in order to manipulate the human population on a fucking scale that nobody could ever imagine. So just to me, when you see like things that the CIA have said like through history, is that they want to get to a point where everything you believe is false, and then it's like, when you look at the personality traits they give these 4 aliens, when you look at the introduction of the Book of Enoch into the Bible, and that's all, to me, that's all like preparing your mind for this coming. And then on top of that, the advancement of civilization and the creativeness of man being able to imagine bigger things. I think if you're ever planning to do a holographic Project Bluebeam type 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, I think an alien invasion or bringing 4 aliens would be the updated version for 2026, so that's where my line of thinking is coming from that. And that's pretty much what I think about aliens. So that's pretty much my thoughts on the whole alien invasion, alien manipulation and stuff like that there. Is that I just still see it as them getting down a biblical prophecy sort of line, but sort of updating it for the 21st century. So if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you don't like the video, like and comment anyway. It's like all helps.